Before I can get on with the arrows, I have to get a fire going, the Stone Age way, using a kit dating back 8,000 years. The key item was this here. This is iron porites, and from this, with their flint, they could strike small dull red sparks with which they could start their fire. Their tinder was made from horse's hoof fungus, the same species I'd seen in the British Museum. Because the sparks we get from the iron porites are so cool, the tinder has to be very carefully prepared. And to do that, take a flint blade like this and scrape the tinder until you get like a mass of cotton wool-like fibres. The next job is to strike the spark onto the tinder, and this isn't easy, and the sparks are very small and very few and far between, so it takes normally a few minutes. Normally when I make fire it's straightforward, but this is different. It takes some perseverance. And of course eventually one lands in the right place and the tinder catches light like this. Take another piece of this fungus, which I will ignite now from this little piece here. Just blow on that. Burns very hot. I put that in there while I can just about hold it. It's getting very hot now. And now there we have flame. One of the key things about primitive arrows is accuracy, and accuracy is very much a function of straightness. And that doesn't look too bad, but actually when you look down it you can see it's all higgledy-piggledy, waves all over the shop. And the process is to heat the arrow shaft over the fire and then to straighten out the areas where it's bent. This one was just the same as the last one a few minutes ago, and gradually now I'm starting to straighten it out. And then once it's straight, I want to dry these stems off, and then I can scrape them down a little bit more and then sand them. It's a lot of work, but well worth it. Sitting here getting to grips with these Stone Age techniques makes me realise how resourceful our ancestors were. The forest was both their DIY store and their supermarket.
Because if that's the river right there, and over here is the other half of the river, and the fish travel up this way, so we put our net there. We do our work and get our reward. Looks like payday. The fish that we're trying to catch are valuable to us because we can eat them ourselves, we can feed them to dogs, we can trade them to people, and we can sell them outright if we wanted to. And this is an important time of year because it's the one time of year that they have eggs. And the eggs make them so nutritious. They make the caloric value in them so much better. And they're tasty. They just taste good. There's my wife, there's my son, there's my oldest daughter, and my wife's cousin. We all fish together all the time. This, never a safe deal. She'll be safe in another month, though, when she's a foot thicker.
I don't think my mother would like it if I gave up on fishing because she taught me and my sisters to fish, and I don't know, I just don't think I'd give that up. I bring the kids out most of the time, they always know never to go by the ice holes, and they always travel in pairs.
And we're gonna take this yellow line here, and we're gonna pass it under from hole to hole to hole to hole until we've got this dozen holes or so, all the way to the rope is there, and then we're gonna feed it in and use the rope and pull it back. I thought you pull the rope. You really pull it.
He's not dead.
Pull it. Oh, it just come off again. So you can't stop and give it slack. It's like a fish. Today we're setting nets. We're trying to get our adjustments right to where we get to where the fish are, and we're just keeping our wits about us as best we can to where we can get this set and still do it safely. There you go. Pull it, Ag. Pull it, Ag. Pull it. Keep pulling it, Ag. Keep pulling it before you lose it.
He's looking at it.
I know. I can see it too. I can see it right from here.
No.
You gotta go through the eye.
No.
Pull it out. Finally put one through the eye of this dang thing. We're hoping to get a couple hundred fish a day. This is an important time of year because it's the one time of year that they have eggs. Our preference right now, while they're here, are the egg-laden whitefish. And that's why we use such a large mesh on our net, is because we want the smaller, skinnier ones to pass through and the big, fat ones to get caught. Grab that corner, son. Even Jeff Henry. Yeah, it was real timid. Look, he's on the inside of the net, Agnes. I do this the way that folks around here do it because the way the folks around here do it is the right way to do it. So, of course, I copy them. I learn from them, I emulate them, and I teach it to my kids. We got one suba licker around here somewhere. I see eggs on the ice. Deliver today. Right now, we'll be eating the fish, and someday they'll come for theirs. We're all gonna die. Can't be scared of death. You just got to be scared of the pain it takes to get dead.
Machete is the most important tool in the forest, and yesterday I heard a story that really illustrates that. There's a story of Yukon people travelling down this river when their canoe was about to turn over in some rapids, and there was this terrible momentary pause when one of the men had to make the decision. Does he take his pack with all his food and his cooking equipment, or does he take his machete? Well, of course, the choice was obvious, and he took the machete. Because with that and what he knows about the forest, he can find life here. This is a very important tool here, but it's also worth bearing in mind that the machete or the parang is the most dangerous tool we use in bushcraft because the length of the edge is so great. There's tremendous potential to bite us. There are a few things we have to know. The first is we need to keep it sharp. So every day on a daily basis, you sharpen it. For that, I carry with me a small sharpening stone, combination stone like this. But if I didn't have that, I could use a pebble from the river. Probably the best way to show you how to use a machete is to make something. And we need a bench to go in our camp there so we can sit comfortably by the fire in the evening, and that's what I'm going to make. To start with, I've cut a small stick to give me a measure for some of the pieces I'm going to need. And I need to cut some strong supports. I use a measuring rod, and we just put a mark on there. That's where I want to cut it. I'm going to need a point on the end. So rather than cut through and then point it, we'll do it all in one go. And this is something that you can really only do with a strong, stiff machete. Just to cut like so. All ready to go. Perfect. So that's one. Rainforest saplings are fabulous building materials. They're straight and strong. And when you need rope, you just split a liana or two. With a bench as long as this, you need to put an extra support in the middle. Now, we lock it off. That gives a lot more support. What I'll do is I'll lash this on here. Everything locks together solid. Now we can sit comfortably and enjoy the fire. Having somewhere to sit down makes life a lot more comfortable in any environment, but particularly in this one, with all the termites and ants crawling around on the forest floor.
The water is a freezing 6 degrees, and we're planning to free dive to catch the crayfish.
Put your gloves on for a start.
Yours look...
Well,
have these battle hardened? Is that
yeah,
all from...
these are battle.
Really?
These are my best gloves, yes. I'll go first, just in case you disturb
That's
them.
because I know what it is, because you think I'm going to disturb them and lose them.
Because I want to feed you some crayfish. You see.
Pecking order established, Robert's off. Dodging the bed of sea urchins that lie between him and dinner. To catch the crayfish, speed is of the essence. A single touch to their antennae sends them deep into the crevices of the jagged volcanic rocks. But once a crayfish is caught, there's an art to keeping hold of it, avoiding their powerful tails covered in spines that can shred through the toughest pair of gloves. The legs of these critters end in claws that they use to grip the rocks and wedge themselves into cracks. Robert's caught dinner for him and his family. And now, it's my turn. The pressure is on. I've just met the guy, and he's clearly got low expectations of my hunting skills. If I don't prove him wrong, I'll be going hungry tonight. Bring it on, shellfish. Let battle commence. Hunter! I just want to make sure everyone can see that. Does he look huge that way? Thank you very much, I love that.
Yukon River is a really powerful river. When it decides it wants to do something, you better get out of the way. There's no way of stopping it. My name's Andy Bassich. I've been living in Eagle for 30 years. I met my wife Kate in Dawson City in the Yukon Territory. Every year the river freezes up sometime in November or December. We never know when. We're kind of landlocked in until it's safe to get across and we can put trails in. I'd say we live about 14 miles from the nearest point of civilization here. Every year when the river freezes, the ice packs in and blocks our path to town. In order to get out, we literally have to cut a trail to create a path for our sleds. We don't have roads. In Alaska, most of the rivers are the highways for people. Putting a trail across the river takes me sometimes 2 days to do it. And this opens up all the areas where I cut wood, where I get logs for building. And almost more importantly than that, it opens up all downriver for me.
Iceberg, Gilligan, sit. My name is Kate. Sit. I first came to Alaska as a tourist 10 years ago. I love it here. I wake up every morning and I think I'm the luckiest woman in the world. I met Andy in Dawson City in the Yukon Territory. He brought me to Eagle during that time. I fell in love with the place. I fell in love with him. My life is perfect. It's a life everybody should lead. Everybody should have this kind of peace.
What I love about living out here is the freedom to develop the life I want to live and then living that life. Finish staking that and I'll check this out and we got it made. I gotta go check this ISO. This could be hollow up here. You have to be careful because you never know when you're gonna hit bad ice on the Yukon River here, especially early on. There's soft spots, there's weak spots, and it's real easy to go through. If you go through, that's it, you're gone. Sounds pretty solid here so far. See what happens here.
I have to say I'm just a wee bit nervous standing right here right now. There's dangers everywhere, and I don't know how I put them out of my mind, but I guess I'm a little insane that way.
If you disappear under the ice on the Yukon, you can't swim up against the current. And you basically just get swept away. Every time I go out on that river, even when I know it's safe ice, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you know, what happens if I go through now? All right, I think we made it. Yeah.
It's good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, we're almost done.
This is kind of a big day, you know, to open up the river, to start feeling like we have the world kind of opening up around us. Big day. Come on, crew, get her. Get her, crew. Get her, crew, come on, crew, get her.
We collect water down by the lake, and for the first time, it looks like we may have a window for our paddle to the glacier. Now I understand why Hig and Erin love these rafts so much. When the road runs out, you just carry on, and the journey becomes an adventure with a whole new world opening up.
I feel like I've stepped into some surrealist painting now.
We've reached our spectacular destination.
These colours, the blues behind me, are unbelievable. This is really beautiful.
And we probably don't want to get much closer than this, actually. You know, because it can lose a chunk now and then.
And this one is not super active, and so that's why we're going to be okay with paddling fairly close to its edge. If it was really active, we'd have to stay farther back. But, you know, be on your toes. If you hear a big crashing, paddle away from the ice.
I have to say, this is the first time I've ever paddled up to a glacier. This is amazing.
Oh, really? It's your first time on a glacier, or up to
I've been on one, but I've
been
never paddled in front of it.
Ah, yeah, I see. Well, I think
this is like in the films.
Not one to waste a scientific opportunity, Hig uses a GPS device to calculate the impact of global warming on the glacier for his research.
We'll put this on Google Earth and compare it to the image that's there now from 2003, and we'll be able to see how much it's retreated in that time.
As the glacier is constantly moving, it can shed or carve ice at any time. As we get nearer, its imposing 80-foot face looms over us.
So I can definitely hear lots of groaning in there.
Yeah, I don't think we want to get any closer than this. We can definitely give the glacier a bit of space.
I'm very happy to do that.
It's coming from underneath.
Whoa. Whoa, look, look, look! Oh my God! Look at the wave! That was amazing. That was really magical. I think, to be honest, it's one of the things that's made this trip to Alaska, really, because that is the Alaska I imagined, the icy side.
Spending time out here I feel I understand much more about the family than I did back in their yurt.
Oh, Latuya. It is tough, huh? Hey, do you want a song, Latuya?
And as a father myself, seeing how the kids behave has been an eye-opener.
Apart from Latuya crying a little bit like any 1.5-year-old would do, I didn't see any complaining. I wanted to complain more than the kids wanted to complain. My little boy, and I love my little boy dearly, would not have just gone for 3 days without a tantrum, without crying, and I didn't hear a single peep come out of Katmai's mouth. He's just been himself. He's been loving it. I have a whole new understanding of what they're about. It's about not just being close to nature, but embracing it, working with it. They know exactly what they need. It's the bare basic minimum. Hig has got a life jacket made out of his sleeping mat. It's the most ridiculous looking thing I've ever seen, but it's also genius. They're non-conformists and they want to spend time in these environments. And then taking that one stage further, the scientists in them want to kind of remind all of us that if we don't look after this, we're gonna lose it.
If you like seafood, there's no reason to starve on this shoreline. Far from it. Just a few minutes collecting and you've got plenty of food. I remember being up in Alaska with Alaskan Indians, and they have a saying there that when the tide is out, the table is set. And that's how it must have been for our ancestors too. It's no wonder that those early communities clung to coastlines. There we go. Get your limpet removing tools here. Perfect, absolutely perfect. To cook the limpets, I can encourage them to clamp down onto this flat rock. Like that. Flatten out the sand. And I'll take these, I've got a couple of razor clams there. Beautiful mussels up here, some really large ones. Put a few cockles in now. And I'll put the other razor fish there like that. Put this rock in there. I'll set it down at the same height. And now with the hot ashes straight across the top of there. They'll only take a few minutes to cook like this. I have to say I'm really partial to this sort of Aboriginal cooking. Very simple, minimum of food handling, food cooked very hot, very quickly after it's been gathered. It's a very healthy way to cook. And now I can just carefully remove the ashes. Oh, there we can see the limpets now. Beautifully done. Be very careful now because shellfish really, the shells really hold the heat. And there's our limpet beautifully cooked. Let me just clean him off and pull off the black bubble on top. Just pull all that off. There. And we eat that orange meat. It's chewy, but it's really good flavour. Fantastic. That razor clam there, that's all he's done. I don't know why we don't eat more of these in Britain. The French sell them, even in Paris you can buy these. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, that is fantastic. That cockle looks like he's just about done. Oh, that is definitely my favourite seafood. Fantastic. That really tastes of the ocean. Wonderful. And what I'm doing here, cooking like this is a scene that repeated itself around the coast of Britain for millennia. We know that because when our ancestors had cooked this way, had these meals here, perhaps as big families, they took the shells and they literally threw them over their shoulder. And they did that for so long that huge heaps of these shells built up, billions of shells from meals eaten over thousands of years. Some of the biggest of those midden mounds, as we call them, are found up here on the west coast of Scotland.
I'm in deepest, darkest New Zealand, living in a tent in the front garden of a hunter-gatherer family who rely on their surrounding wilderness for survival.
Morning.
Good morning, how have you been?
Lovely weather.
Have a good sleep.
Yeah, you look like you really are ready for the rain.
Oh, I've been waiting for you. I might need a bit of a hand.
Yeah?
We'll go and check the eel net. Alright.
Out of the 365 days of the year, how many of them are dry here?
About 200.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then we get a little bit of rain every now and again. Some people just happen to pick the right weather.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm obviously
Yeah.
so the right weather.
So here we go.
Thank you.
Anyway, eels like this sort of weather.
They like the rain.
Yeah, they
that's
love
good.
this wet, drippy sort of weather. So which job do you want? Do you want to wade out there and
Not really.
undo the rope, or do you want to undo this end?
Not really. I saw how you were dressed.
Okay.
Robert's net has been out overnight, but he can never be sure if he's going to have a feast or a famine.
Does it look like there's anything in it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
We've got more than what we need.
Yeah. So you're going to
we'll
release some?
We'll select a couple and then we'll let the rest go.
The reason you're letting them go is because you don't need that many.
I don't need that many, and the bigger ones are the breeders. If you just want to help him back into the water, he'll probably find his own way.
Shall I, well, let this one, look, we'll let this one go and...
Just give him a pat and just
give him a pat.
Help him.
Like that?
Yeah.
Like stroking a dog.
Yeah,
Come on, eel.
Help him that way.
Go on, this way.
There you go. See? And he's away.
This breed of New Zealand eel reproduces just once in their life, living in fresh water until they're ready to breed in the ocean.
So what you're establishing here is this careful balance between you and nature.
And as long as you respect the environment and the wilderness, it'll look after you. Some people come here and feel sort of intimidated, it's too primeval, whereas this is my home. You know, I feel at home here. That eel will die. The plan is to do it as quickly as you can.
Okay. You held it between those rocks.
You try to hold it behind the neck there so you can cut his...
Back there? Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, eel.
There you go. Have you done this before?
When I was a child, I used to go out fishing all the time.
Yeah,
and
same here when I was a kid
my
too.
grandfather said that if I caught fish, I had to keep them. I had to eat them. So he taught me how to gut fish. I didn't mind it, but you know what? The funny thing is, as the years have gone on, I've gone all soft.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I've actually got harder as time goes on. You're still sensitive and try to respect everything, but it's just the realities of surviving really actually toughens you right up.
Of course it does.
Yeah, and you know, even though your heart feels for, you know, every time I kill an animal, I feel for it.
Yeah.
But it's just the reality of what's going on, eh?